it always makes me laugh. Like when people, they're like, oh, I burned more calories over the hour than you did in your 10-minute one. It's like, yeah, well, that's not the point, is it?
Yeah. All right, welcome to the CrossFit by Design podcast. This is episode number 7. How you going, Brendan?
Good, man. Good to be back.
Yes, it is. It is good to be back. All right, so today I wanted to talk about intensity. This is one of the key principles that CrossFit is founded on, and it's one of the keys to success in any kind of fitness endeavor. So I wanted to talk a little bit about intensity, what it is, does it matter, how does it apply? So let's kick things off by, how would you define intensity?
Well, in technical terms, it's defined as power.
Mm-hmm.
And to delve a little deeper into that, it's force multiplied by distance, then divided by time.
Okay.
All we really need to know is that it's doing more work in less time.
Yep.
While it's good to have those scientific definitions, easiest way to look at it is just, doing more work in less time.
Okay. All right, so why does it matter? So why would we have a conversation about intensity, and why is, especially in CrossFit and in a lot of other sports as well, why is it so important? Why does it matter?
Well, I mean, in the words of Greg Glassman, he says it's the independent variable most commonly associated with favourable adaptation.
Okay.
So meaning you're going to get the best results from intensity, basically. And, you know, it matters because it's going to give you the most bang for your buck.
Yep.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Makes sense to me.
Yeah, cool.
So, when we think about getting fit, so if I'm just your average Joe going into the gym, I'm doing CrossFit, you know, getting a good workout in. When I'm thinking about intensity, does that just mean doing more pull-ups?
Well, it's like, yeah, and that's a great question. So you want to have some kind of measure.
Yep.
So a measure in our world would be something like Fran.
Yep.
So you have 21, 15, 9 of, and I think we've used this example previously, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. But 21 pull-ups, finish your pull-ups, then you go, 21 thrusters, which is like a squat to a press.
Yep.
And then I do 21 pull-ups,
Yep.
and then 15 thrusters, 15 pull-ups,
Yep.
9 and 9.
Yep, okay.
And then an easy measure of like intensity or doing more work in less time is you do it the first time, it takes you 10 minutes.
Yep.
You do it the next time, so say you do it 6 months down the track,
Yep.
it takes you 7 minutes. So you've basically, that's one measure there. So you can't just do, you know, it has to meet that definition of more work in less time. You can't just do more work in more time and
Right.
call that intensity. Or standing there, red-faced, yelling, and I look across the room and I'm like, oh man, that looks intense. Like that's not really intensity.
Yeah, okay.
You want to have an actual unit, like something observable, measurable, repeatable.
Okay.
Like, again, going back to like the scientific side of things,
Yeah.
it's like if you can't observe it, measure it, repeat it, then
Yeah.
it's...
So if I'm doing my Fran in less time, or if I'm maybe doing it in the same time but with heavier weights,
Yep.
I've increased my intensity. Is that kind of
Yeah,
the easy way
exactly.
of
So
looking at it?
through your training, you've developed the ability to
Yeah.
bring more intensity to it. So
Yeah.
it's a skill like anything else. So when you're first introduced to it, you don't really know. I mean, my experience was that too. You know, you think when you're coming from just a normal gym background,
Yeah.
you're like, I went hard today in the gym. I was there for an hour. It was really intense. I lifted heavy weights. But it took me an hour.
Yeah.
And that was after I warmed up, and I was just kind of cruising through.
Okay. Yeah.
It's important to have those metrics
Yeah. Yeah.
by which to measure how you're going.
Yeah. Okay. So you talked about adaptation before. So intensity gives you the most adaptation, gives you the most gains, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
by going intense and aiming to be more intense with your training, that's going to make me fitter, make me stronger.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
in
How
a
does that
lot of
work?
ways too. Like when we talked about nutrition and we used the doctor's definition of sort of, or how they measure your health. So let's say you're in it for weight loss.
Yeah.
And we'll use calories as an example. I don't love using calories as an example
Yep.
because that assumes they're all created equal, which they're not. But that could be for another day.
Yep.
But let's say we're using that. So I want to burn this many calories, and I'm taking in this many calories. So by that definition, I'll lose weight.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yep.
So using a long, slow distance as an example, up against something like Fran. So let's say you're at that 7-minute mark with Fran, and then up against a run that's like, I don't know, let's call it half hour, 45-minute run. So within that 45-minute run, I burn extra calories while I'm on that run. So you have like a resting rate for how your body burns calories. So right now you're burning a certain number of calories, and as soon as you start to go for a run, your body will step it up and start to burn more calories. So that makes sense, I'm sure everyone kind of agrees with that. The problem with that is, after you've gone for that long, slow distance run for half hour, 45 minutes, the pace that you can maintain on that run isn't going to be a very intense pace for most. So you'll burn calories, like you'll burn more calories while you're on that run, but shortly after you finish the run, your body will return back to similar to what it is now, just your resting metabolic rate. So you'll go back to burning a normal amount of calories. On the flip side, if you look at Fran, well, that's only a 7-minute workout. So if I'm only burning calories for 7 minutes, then surely the run is better. However, what you need to think about is the intensity that you're bringing to that 7 minutes digs you into such a deep metabolic deficit, like into a metabolic hole that your body needs to recover from. It doesn't just step up the calorie burning for the next 10, 15 minutes. It's actually going to step it up for 12, anywhere to 24 hours. So your resting metabolic rate is higher for a 24-hour period.
So even after I leave the gym and go home, it's still working.
Yeah, spot on. Because you've basically given it all you've got, your body needs to really recover. And in order to do that, it needs to step up that calorie burning. And that's just one example of how intensity is going to get you your results. So let's say it's weight loss is the example here. It's a really great way to do that. So it always makes me laugh, like when people, they're like, oh, I burned more calories over the hour than you did in your 10-minute one. It's like, well, that's not the point, is it?
And it seems that, it seems to me anyway, that doing a long, slow distance run, not something that's ever easy, but that would seem easier than going intense. It seems, obviously intensity is hard. Why is it so hard?
Well, it's super uncomfortable. Like if you're doing it right, it's very uncomfortable. Because to use a running example, you go for a half-hour run, it's pretty uncomfortable. But doing something 7 minutes and you're being coached to just, I want you to give this everything that you have. Like just bare your soul within this 7 minutes. That's going to be a lot more uncomfortable than that half-an-hour run. Like if the half-an-hour run was so uncomfortable, you wouldn't be able to maintain it for half an hour. That's kind of what we're getting at. Like it's so next level. It's not, you can't maintain it.
So we talked about, I guess, intensity being a better option than low long distance. Now, low long distance, or not having as high intensity during a workout, is still going to get you results. It's just not going to have as good results as going intense. So what if someone says, look, you know what, I'm just not really willing to push that hard. Just happy with my easy kind of workout. They're not willing.
Well, if you're happy with the results that you're getting, then it's going to be hard for me to convince you otherwise. But it's like, you can't have it both ways. So if you're happy doing your routine and you are stoked with every metric by which we measure your health, so you feel like you're strong enough, you're fast enough, you're lean enough, and you're just overall
healthy,
as fit and healthy as you want to be, then it's going to be very hard for me to convince you. But if you're saying, well, I'm cool, I just want to do it this way, but you want more results, sorry, not going to happen.
And you talked before about it's a skill to do that. And we've both seen this where you have a new client come in and we try to coach them to intensity. Often if they've never done that in the past, say through a sporting background, it's difficult to actually push into that uncomfortable zone because, as you said, something's wrong. Something's going wrong. Hang on. Stop. Something is wrong here. I can't breathe. My body is on fire. What is happening? I'm going to die. That takes time. So what if someone can't get there yet?
Yeah, I think it just takes work. It is a skill, and when you first approach it, you just feel like something's wrong. You're like, this isn't it. I'm going to have a heart attack. Because when you first do it, that's kind of what it's going to feel like. It's going to feel very, very uncomfortable. And you just need to find simple ways of getting there. Like one simple way that I know both you and I like is the assault bike. Because it's just get on the bike and just kick and punch. And do that for a minute. Give me all you got for a minute. Because it might not be, I might be able to give one athlete 2 minutes of burpees and that will completely destroy them because they have the ability to move fast within the burpee. So they can take that intensity to that workout.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody else who doesn't quite have the strength, if I give them 2 minutes of burpees, they don't have the ability to do those fast, so they can't get into that intensity side of things.
Yeah.
So simple things like simple but very difficult things like a sled, like just push this sled for. I mean, we've done like 30-meter sled pushes, and they can be.
I guess it's a way of
soul-sucking.
expressing your fitness, because sometimes you need the requisite skill and strength to express capacity in a certain way. But if you simplify it down, then it's easy for you to express.
Yeah, don't get too carried away. Like going back to Fran as the example, the weight for the guys would be 43 kilos. So if you shift 43 kilos very slowly, then Fran's not going to be a good test of intensity for you. But if I go, hey, why don't we just bring it down to 15 kilos and we do jumping pull-ups? Or some people have even tried to break the world record for Fran by doing it with a PVC pipe, and then have just found out that it's like they actually didn't break the record, even at the lighter weight, because they can bring that level of intensity to it from the level of fitness that they are currently at. And it's just it's something worth experiencing. And like Julian Pinot, who I know you follow, just once a week, man. You don't have to go into the gym every day and do it. Like you want to bring different levels of intensity based on how you feel that day and whatever. But if once a week you can really, really bare your soul, you'll get the results you want.
And so why would there be a benefit if we say someone hasn't got the requisite strength to do a Fran at the required level of intensity? And obviously we can scale this down to the level of the athlete. But what if someone's not strong enough to get to that intensity level? Are they always just destined to be on the bike, or is there benefit in strengthening different areas and skills so that we can express that intensity in different ways?
Yeah, absolutely. Like intensity comes in many forms, and we're kind of just talking about one here, but you kind of want to develop as well-rounded as you can, and that's where CrossFit comes into it. We want to develop your intensity, but we also want to develop your strength and your flexibility and like the rest of the 10 general physical skills. So it's like you don't want to go in every day and just do the bike. It's like you do the bike while you're building up enough strength to do other measures. And that's where balance really comes into it. Because it's not like we're asking you to always go light, always use the bike, and things like that. It's like, no, we have set strength days. It's like our intensity today is going to come from doing 5 sets of 3. And when you're in that 3, you're really going to push.
As heavy as you can.
As heavy as you can. And that's where we're going to get our intensity piece from. It's not always necessarily like the bike. But your intensity in the squat comes from maintaining your form through 3 super heavy sets. So you're coming up out of the hole and it's just like, maybe I won't make this. And that's where the intensity comes from in your strength. And then that's going to carry over into...
And that's why I guess with CrossFit in particular, we're testing so many different areas. We're testing a 5K run. We're doing a 1 rep max back squat, and then we're going and doing Fran as well. And intensity can be expressed in each of these areas, but I guess it looks a little bit differently. But the way we're expressing it to the most of our ability, and we're trying to get the best time on our 5K, the heaviest weight in our back squat and the fastest Fran time, I guess, even though it looks different ways, regardless or depending on the workout, it's still intensity is what we're chasing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, large loads, long distances, quickly.
Sounds good.
Bam.
All right, let's wrap it up.
Yep.